Let's now go to Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. So, Mr. Jordan, you've been temporarily assigned to the House Intelligence Committee for the impeachment inquiry hearings. I'm sure that your colleagues were glad to have you there last week. Could I ask you your opinion about whether President Trump should testify in any way, even if that included just answering some questions, by pen?
Yeah, that's totally good to be with you, Dan. That's totally up to the White House, totally up to the president, whether he does it or not. I don't anticipate him testifying in an open hearing. I certainly don't anticipate that. But if he wants to provide answers, that's completely his call, and the legal counsel at the White House says that's their call.
What do you make of the upcoming testimony from Gordon Sondland? He's the ambassador to the EU. Yeah. He's already changed his testimony once, amended it based on, he said his memory was refreshed. He had read some other testimony, and he said he needed to do that before he came. How do you think he will hold up as a witness on Wednesday?
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see. What we know is what he said in his deposition, and that really did not change in the addendum he provided to his deposition testimony. He said there was no quid pro quo and that Zelensky should do the right thing. And the right thing, of course, is deal with the huge corruption problem that has been just part of Ukraine for the longest time. I think it was Ernst & Young who said they're one of the three most corrupt countries on the planet. So the president was very clear, and Mr. Sondland was very clear when he gave his testimony to the committee in the deposition, and his addendum really didn't fundamentally change that. So the bottom line is 4 facts will never change, Dan. I don't care how many witnesses they bring in. They can have 8 hearings this week, the 2 big hearings with our 3 witnesses last week. The facts have never changed. We've got the transcript. There was no linkage of an investigation to security assistance money. We got the 2 guys on the call, President Trump and President Zelensky, who have both said there was no pressure, no pushing. We have the fact that Ukraine didn't know that the aid was held at the time of the call, and most importantly, President Zelensky didn't announce, didn't promise he was going to start any investigation to get the aid released.
And yet, the Republicans being totally united, and I think that will. I don't see that changing, through the course of this week. But do you have any concerns about anybody in the Senate maybe going wobbly on the Republicans?
We're focused on the House side right now. I don't really. I think the senators see this just like the American people do. The facts are on the president's side, and the process is completely unfair. I mean, think about this fact. Adam Schiff gets to call witnesses whenever he wants. We had to give our list a week ago Saturday. Adam Schiff he doesn't even release all the transcripts, and by not releasing the transcripts, we can't use that testimony in these hearings.
Do you think that they are holding those transcripts up for a reason? Like, do you know that maybe there's a reason that they don't want them out, or is it because it's just taking them a long time to get them done?
No, it's all tactical. It's all strategic from their point of view. There's a reason they scheduled the witnesses in the order they've scheduled them.
Yeah.
There's a reason that they have the witnesses that we actually wanted called, even though they're Adam Schiff's witnesses. He deposed them. He called them for a deposition. They're all in the afternoon. There's a reason he doesn't release all the transcripts until certain witnesses have already testified, because we actually follow the rules. They selectively leak from these depositions. So I think it's all planned. I think it's all choreographed and part of their unfair process to go after this president.
So the Republicans, as I said, quite unified, out there with a united message, and yet the tide of public opinion. I want to show you the ABC news poll that just came out this morning. 51% of Americans say that President Trump's actions were wrong and he should be impeached by the House and removed from office. 19% say that President Trump's actions were wrong, but he should not be removed, and 25% say that he did nothing wrong. And then there were, I think, 70% that say that they think that the call was wrong or inappropriate. Is there anything that the Republicans can do this week to try to turn the tide of public opinion?
Well, the first thing I would say is I don't think they've been talking to many people in Ohio, because I go back to our state, and I know what it's like in the 4th District. I know what it's like across our state, and the folks in Ohio appreciate what the president has accomplished in the 3 years he's been commander-in-chief. They like lower taxes, less regulation.
Yeah.
They like the economy growing, and all the great things that have happened. So I don't see that back home. That's for sure. What we're going to do is focus on getting the truth out, and it's not as easy for our side. Remember, these are all Adam Schiff's witnesses, all the depositions that he did in the secret hearing, all the selective leaks they had. He can call witnesses when he wants. He even stopped us from asking questions.
Yeah, and
like when we asked Colonel Vindman who he talked to after the July 25th call, a guy subpoenaed by Congress to answer congressional questions, and only Adam Schiff got to ask the questions he wanted. We didn't get to ask our questions. He prevented the witness from answering. So that's the kind of format
and yet,
we've been functioning in.
Let me just ask you one last thing. After last Wednesday's testimony, that was with George Kent and Bill Taylor, the next morning, and I read a lot of coverage from all across the board, and I would say that Democrats seemed very subdued that they thought that they actually have a harder job right now, that they don't think that they'll be able to actually hit the bar that they have raised so high. And I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, no, of course they can't, because their star witness was Bill Taylor, who never met the president, never met Giuliani, never met Mick Mulvaney, and had no firsthand knowledge of anything. And the 4 facts that I talked about earlier have never changed, will never change. So it is a tough case for them, but they get to keep telling their story with the witnesses they want to bring in.
Yeah,
that does make it a little difficult on us, but we're going to win, because the American people know the facts are on the president's side, and they know this whole thing is unfair. All
right, well, we'll be watching all week long, and I will work on my posture this week, since it was those are long hours. Congressman Jim Jordan, thank you.
Thank you, Dana.